Hi, Lynn Loudermilk here, the Practicing Crafter. The last video, we turned puzzle pieces into home decor items. But today, in part 2 of this series, we are going to choose some puzzle pieces and we are going to transform these little puzzle pieces into wearables. From statement earrings to a charm bracelet to pins and even a hairpiece, these puzzle pieces are about to become one-of-a-kind wearables. So grab your paints, your Mod Podge, and maybe some little embellishments. Let's give these pieces a whole new look. Let's get crafting. We're going to work on some what I call charms. I call them charms because you can just do so many things with them. But my main use for these charms is to add them to hoops. So now my go-to earring is a hoop. I have a really nice pair of gold hoops, and I have some really nice silver hoops. And the reason is I love the versatility of these. You can absolutely wear them alone, or you can just take a bag of beads. Like if you travel, you can just make sure that your beads fit over your earring post and will go all the way on. And you like to make sure that they have some kind of earring, but something to where you have that complete circle. So both of my gold earrings and my silver earrings, I always make sure that they have something that completes that loop. Depending on what size beads you're buying or what size the hole is, they could easily come off the end of a hoop earring that doesn't close. That is my suggestion if you're going to do something like this. But I did think it would be fun to make some different charms for my earrings. So I made several kinds. Both of these sets were painted. You can see, I know you can see the texture on there, which is great. Now this one, I have to say, whenever I painted this one, I think that I used Stellar Silver Sugar Metallic on this one. And as I was making it, I was thinking it looks like a cold day, it looks like ice, it looks like snow, that kind of thing. So if you have ever seen where people take puzzles and they will make snowflakes, Christmas ornament snowflakes, I think this would be a beautiful color to use to make those snowflakes. Just a random thought there. And let me just show you how these would normally work. So on my earring, what I do in order to make sure it lines up right, the earring charms, you need to have 2 O-rings. So that will ensure that your earring charm is going to line up correctly. And then basically all you do, well, I've slid that one on the backwards. Let me put it on the right way. Okay. And all of a sudden you have your set of earrings. Now these are kind of fun also because you could add multiple little puzzle pieces and make those into a different look if you liked. Let me see, what if we line all of them up? I just want to see what they look like. So let's see here. If I line all of these up this way. See, I mean, that is just getting cuter by the minute. I had not thought of that until just now, but I love that idea of layering several. And the other thing is these puzzle pieces are so light, it will not add a lot of weight to your earring. Yeah, I think that that is a fun little idea. I'm just going to run through a couple of these. Let me put these to the side. So, I did some basic silver and added a little gemstone. I did a couple with different types of texture paints. And then I did this one, which is with a matte, which is using a flat grapevine color from FolkArt. Let's just get started making these earrings really quick. And I'm going to show you two different ones, two different ideas for that. So the first one is going to be just a painted set of earrings that you could embellish however you wanted to. And we are just going to go through the steps that I did to make those. So first I did get my puzzle pieces, and I tried to make sure that they were at least a similar size, but you can do, whatever you want to do with that. They could be a similar shape, whatever. So now I just want to determine where I would like for that earring to hang from. Do I want it to hang from a corner? Would I like for it to hang from one of these little nubby pieces? Where do I want those to hang from? So to get started, I think I'm going to put a hole right here. And I am just using a styrofoam tray and using that to help me poke through to my surface. Whenever you're doing your hole punch, you want to make sure that your hole is going to be big enough for your O-rings that you're using. So now let's just figure out where we're going to do this one at. I'm going to do this one in this corner right here. I'm going to poke that through, and you can feel when it goes through, so you can lift it and continue to work that hole just a little bit more. All right, so that was pretty easy peasy, right? This is an easy project, but I just think it is so much fun, and there's so many things that you can actually do with this project. You could leave these plain, you could paint them, you could do a decoupage over them, and you can just continue to embellish them from that point. So you have got all kinds of options when you are doing these. For me, today, I am actually going to paint this set. And I thought it would be fun to have something that looks kind of springy, something that I can add some polka dots to. So I am just going to do this in green. Now this is going to take probably 2 or 3 coats. So I am just going to not bore you with that. We are going to do the front and the back. So here are the earrings that I'm working on. I did get a little paint in those holes, so I'm going to clear that back out really quick. Next, what I'm going to do is I want to add some polka dots onto these earrings. Now, usually I would use something like this, just a dot painter. I don't know what you call them, but this is what I would use to do that. However, not everybody has that. Not everybody has that in their craft stash. So today we are just going to use the end of a paintbrush. So we are just going to add some fun polka dots. And I am going to reload every dot. Let's work on this decoupaged project. I have found whatever paper I'm going to use. This is just some rice paper that I did some jelly printing on. I want to put the piece down, face down, onto your sheet of paper, and then just trace around that so that you can get a good template to work on. And then you're just going to have to fussy cut that out. This project, I have to say, is a little more tedious. So if you don't have a lot of patience, this may not be the one for you. The other thing you can see I did put a white coat of paint over this one, and that is just because it was a very dark puzzle piece. We are just going to use our Mod Podge again, and we are just going to do a very, very tiny decoupage project. So let's just get that on there to start. And be a light coat. Now let's make sure we have that pressed down really well and lined up really well. Now I'm just going to take a little more of my Mod Podge, and I'm just going to start working these edges down a little bit. I'm just curving over that edge to try to get any extra paper glued down over the edge of that puzzle, so we have a really tight fit of that paper over that puzzle piece. Okay, so let's let that one dry. Now for this one, I am going to just add a second coat just to get that where I want it. All we're going to do is just finish these up with our O-rings. So 1, 2, let me grab a couple more. Here we go. I'm just going to open all these up at once. Let's just face them all the same way. Make it a little easier. There you go. Second one will help us hang straight. Okay, there we go. So let's see what these look like. Again, I think that those are cute. Cute little pieces. I would probably use these on gold because I just think they look like they call for gold. Let's take a look at these. I think that these turned out really cute. Those certainly have a fun, springy look about them. And just to show you, this is the back of that piece of puzzle and this is the front. So there's not a whole lot of difference between the two. A little bit of a rounded edge. But yeah, I think that all of these are a lot of fun. Another thing you could do that would be a fun little look, maybe see how this would come out. You know, and then you've got just a little finished look, maybe even a smaller bead. It would just have to fit around your post. But there are so many things that you could do with these. Let me know what you think. Let me know which ones are your favorites. See, we've got the ones with a little gemstone attached. Beautiful purple. These that were painted with the sugar metallic. This is Starry Night, and this one is, I can't remember, but it is a silver sugar metallic. So, oh, and of course we have these, the ones that we did the decoupage on. So anyway, lots and lots and lots of options for these as a project. All right, so another one that I thought would be fun to do is a clip or a Brett. You know, I don't even know really what you call these things. If you know what you call these, please let me know in the comments so I can use the correct term the next time. But this is just basically a clip. It has a fairly flat surface. I've got my puzzle pieces that I have decoupaged together and added a couple of coats of Mod Podge gloss. And how I did this was basically I had a napkin and I just decoupaged that napkin onto each individual piece. I have a backing again to support my puzzle pieces a little bit more, and I grabbed some elements that I may end up adding to the top of this. So this little backing piece that I'm getting ready to use was just out of my recycle bin, and it was in some type of packaging. I have no idea what, but I had kept it because I thought it could be used for several different things. Used for a backing for something to sturdy something up. As a stencil, you could totally use that as a stencil. But the other thought that I had was if you were doing some kind of journal or something, that you could use this as part of the closure. So that is the only reason I held on to this piece of plastic. They use so many great things for packaging to stabilize your materials that, I always check that packaging and make sure that there's nothing in there that you need before you put it in the garbage or in the recycle bin. It may very well have another use. In order to get this to stabilize a little more quickly, I have added the glue for this, which is, I'm just using a Gorilla Glue. You use whatever strong craft glue that you have. And I'm going to add some hot glue to the back of this to set it. The only reason I'm doing that is that will just help stabilize this piece until that glue cures. All right, so now I'm just going to set this to the side and let that dry really, really well. We are working on getting this break completed. And again, this is going to have some major wear and tear, so we're going to use our Gorilla Glue. And I am going to use my hot glue gun to hold that in place until it dries. Let's put a little dot on this one. And now we're just going to take our glue gun and let's do this other one real quick. Okay, so once that is dry, we are going to add one more little embellishment to this. Let's see, do we like that one better or do we like this little guy better? Yeah, let's just use this one. This is a really old sticker, which is fine, except it's not going to have that much sticky left on it. We are not going to depend on that sticker to keep this flower on here. We are going to add some glue to get that to stay in place. Okay, so for our final step, we have just added some glue. I've got some Gorilla Glue and some hot glue that we are using to keep this in place. And you wouldn't have to use this clip on here. You could also use this. I'm thinking you could use that as a bookmark. That would be a great bookmark, actually. Or in a journal. If you're doing something and you want to tag something in a journal, I think that would be a really cute piece to use. So this actually has a lot of different uses. All right. So let's put that guy to the side. All right. So we are going to also make a charm bracelet, which I just thought would be just so much fun. And I am going to leave the puzzle the way it is. I am not going to do any painting to this one. I am just going to take this guy apart. And to get started, we are just going to go through here and let's see, one like her face. I'm going to pick my favorite pieces, add his face on there. Here's their feet. Let's add their feet in there. And let me see, what else might we add in there? You know, I kind of like those colors, but they just don't go with it, do they? Here's one that's got some wording on it. Here's another face, more words. That one's got the pink on it. I don't really want the pink on there. Some more letters. Okay, so I think I'm going to use those pieces for this charm bracelet, and I think that'll be enough. The first thing I'm going to do on that, again, we're going to take our hole punch, and we are just going to choose where we want the piece to hang from, and we are just going to add holes in every one of these pieces. Okay, so we have all those. You're just going to attach an O-ring to every one of these. Now I am just taking a second O-ring, and we are going to attach these to our charm bracelet. Now these little charm bracelets are inexpensive. I have got an entire set in my stash that, no, I did not pick up at a thrift store. I ordered them off Amazon. So you can find all kinds of options for inexpensive to nicer charm bracelets. This was just a little inexpensive pack. I think I got 12 little charm bracelets for probably, I don't know, 15 bucks or something like that. So here's Jane's face. We've got Jane, Tarzan and Jane. You know, I am pretty excited about the little craft projects for wearables that I've been able to come up with for this puzzle. And I have to say, it wasn't initially my favorite idea, but I don't know, it's turning in to be one of my favorite ideas for this total project. And I am just putting these about every third link. And I think I'm going to have plenty to fill up this bracelet. So here it is, finished, and I think it is really cute. As somebody that is a minimalist in jewelry wearing, if I were to do this over, I would get a puzzle that has much smaller pieces, either a more difficult puzzle or a larger puzzle that would have tinier pieces to do this project. And that is only because this would be too much hanging off my wrist. A lot of people would be able to pull this off I could not. So anyway, just food for thought, and let me know what you think about this project. One wearable that I thought would be fun to make was a pin to put on different items of clothing. Get that back on there, goodness gracious. This puzzle was The Wizard of Oz, and the poster featured the Tin Man. We added some glitter, a pin. I found this cute little thing in my stash. It was a charm on its own. But wherever you go with all your heart. So I thought this American Graffiti poster would be perfect for this project. You've got your little car hop here. And, she's holding her tray of food and she's on her way to deliver it. So I just think it's a very cute, nostalgic image. So we're going to use that one. And we do need to add a supportive backing for these puzzles. I figured out what size circle I would like for my pin. And I just traced that onto this lid that came off something, from the grocery store. And now we're just going to cut that down to size. Things are not the easiest things to cut, but or you could totally use just like a piece of cardboard, or just anything that you might find to stabilize that puzzle just a little bit more. And one more. There's my backing, and that is also going to serve as my template to cut out our car hop. I'm going to try to keep this where I have just a solid edge and I just have that red background. Let's see if we can knock this out real quick. And to do that, you can use whatever you have on hand. I happen to have a Sharpie right here beside me, so I'm going to use a Sharpie. There we go. All right, now I am just going to, again, you can cut through this. You just want to be very careful when you're cutting. You may have to put a puzzle piece back together, but that is a pretty easy thing to do. So let me find a good place to start. I think I'm going to start right here. That just seems like the path of least resistance. Put down just a touch more. I think I'm going to take it down just to the inside of the mark that I made, and not because I'm wanting to hide the mark, mostly because it just looks like a better place to fall on the puzzle. Let's see if we can just do that real quick. I am just going to glue this onto the back of this puzzle, and I am just going to use a pretty heavy duty glue for this, a craft glue of some sort. All right, so let's just press that down really well. To here, whoops, got some coming off the edge. Let's just put that a little white down. All right. I am just going to get some clips just to hold that in place while that dries for a little while. Make sure we get a really good a really good seal on that. There we go. Let's put that to the side. First, I am going to add a coat of this Treasure Gold, FolkArt Treasure Gold. And I am just almost just patting this into place. Not necessarily painting it, but just patting it to get that coverage on there. Now to do the very edge, I'm actually just making sure that I have a little bit of paint on my brush, and I am just pulling that down over that and kind of scraping my brush to get that edge on there. And the reason is because I want that to be, want it to stand up just a little bit, which does mean we are going to probably need to let this dry just a little bit longer than normal. Once we finish this, we will just let that sit a little bit, and dry. Or you could, take your heat gun to it. You just don't want to get your heat gun too close to it, but you could take your heat gun and help it along a little if you wanted to do that. Okay, so I do have a nice edge all the way around that, and I'm going to lay that to the side to dry. For the back of this, I have these metal sheets. Again, thrift store found. Probably, my favorite, Mountain Home thrift store out in Black Mountain. And I always find such great supplies to work with out there on a consistent basis, just about every single time I go. So these are just really thin metal sheets. You'd want to be careful because you could, do like a paper cut thing right there. Drawing of a flower petal, if you will, or a sunshine or something. Anyway, I'm just going to trace around that so I have a good cutting line. I want that one to actually come out a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to put this to the side. And you are supposed to be able to cut these with scissors. So I'm grabbing just a basic pair of scissors to start with. And if these don't work, then I may grab a heavier duty pair of scissors. But I like, for my projects, I like to know that they are done with, basic things that a lot of people already have. Depending on your puzzle, you could totally be using something completely different. Let me just, yes, I think this will be a little bit easier way to cut this out. This is a neat aluminum. This is aluminum. But if you were looking for something like this, you could probably find something similar at Lowe's or Home Depot that you might be able just to cut down, I don't know, a really thin aluminum. All right. So my thought right now is to bend these edges. I'm not really sure if this is going to work or not, but we're going to just see how we like it. I actually would like to have something more rounded. And no, what can I use to wrap this around. Let's see, how about something like this? Could I? Now I want to kind of bring that up also. I'm just going to use that pencil to kind of round these blossoms up as much as possible. If you are someone that does aluminum crafts, I am probably just mortifying you right now with what I'm doing. So just accept my apologies for that. This is not something I ever do. It was just a thought that came to my head, and I just wanted to, try it out. So let's just see what we can do with it. Oh, goodness. The thought is that this will be the back. And I don't like the way that that is. So I'm actually going to just paint over that real quick to cover that black up. I'm going to let it. Okay, in the meantime, while I'm waiting for some of these to dry, one thing that I came across that I thought would be so cute to add to this Tin Man is I've got another heart here, and I've got this chain. So I thought it would be fun to add the actual heart that the Tin Man is holding in the movie. To do that, I'm going to glue this chain around where I had attached the pin on this. This is such a last minute thought. I was working on this project, was looking around my craft room for inspiration for this pin, and came across this heart. And this heart has been in my stash for a while. My daughter had purchased some beautiful little earrings for me a long time ago. One of them came apart and I lost the other heart. So I had kept this one to save it for something in the future. So I'm glad that we have now found a use for that. Again, I'm going to get out some super duper glue to use to do this because I think it just calls for it. We are just going to take that, kind of rim around where I put that pin on. And I'm going to use this chain. I want it to hang about right here, probably, maybe a little shorter. There we go. Now I'm just going to wrap this and wrap it around where I just placed that glue. We're going to place this to the side and just let that glue do what it needs to do to hold this in place. Let me put this up here so it doesn't add any weight as I'm moving it. That is just a perfect lesson that sometimes you think you're finished with a project, but it's never too late to go back and add to it if you're inspired to add something else. So just always keep that in mind. So this piece has dried, and I'm turning to my Holtz ideology words, and I found one in here that I thought would be fun to add to this little picture. Be awesome today. Be awesome today. So we are going to add that in to this one. So we are going to add the sticker on, but once again, it is a sticker. So I do want to make sure it's a little more permanent. And I'm just going to grab some glue to add onto this. This is a glue that dries completely clear. And we are just going to add that onto this piece. Let's see. Be awesome today, maybe. Do I want it like that or do I want it like this? How about like that? Be awesome today. All right. We're going to add a coat of Mod Podge to the top of this puzzle just to give it a good seal. I'm going to just make sure we get down in those crevices really, really good. And once I've done that, I'm just going to do a brush stroke. And the next step is we are going to attach this on to this aluminum sheet that we cut earlier. And we are going to grab some super duper glue to help us with this. For this one, it's big enough that I am going to also grab some double-sided tape to, let's just use one piece of double-sided tape, will help stabilize this while this glue dries. So let's just add that onto there. And I'm going to try to center that the best I can. We are also going to add some clips to hold this down while this comes together. All right, so let's put this one to the side to dry. And the only other thing, well, I may go back and fiddle with these petals or whatever you want to call them a little bit more to get them to my liking, and then we will add the back on and that project will be done. And just like that, these puzzle pieces become stylish accessories from earrings, mix and match earrings. Let's take a look at those again. That you can use on different size hoops that you already may have at home. To a hair piece, or for me, I think that this is going to end up being a journal, something for a journal. I just think it just lends itself to that. Some fun pins. Be awesome today, and wherever you go, go with all your heart. And this sweet little charm bracelet. Which project was your favorite? Let me know in the comments. And if you try any of these yourself, tag me on Instagram or Facebook because I would love to see what you've done. And if you have any other suggestions, you can post those in the comments. I would appreciate that so much. So in our next series, we are going to finish using up the pieces from this 1,000-piece puzzle to create journal and office supplies. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so that you don't miss it. Until next time, get out there, find a fun medium, create something, make it yours, and just have fun with the process. Have a good day. Bye.